and welcome into my sports talk show. I am your host, Carlation Jr., joined by a special guest today on my sports talk show, a former MLB relief pitcher, played from 2003 to 2006 with the Houston Astros, Mike Gallo. How are you doing today, Mike?
Oh, good. Just sitting here, work my day job today, and basically it's 90 degrees here in Southern California, but we have the best weather in the world down here. I mean, I'm very fortunate to grew up down here, but overall, it's always good to talk sports and get to meet new people. And I have a little bit of break time because I coach youth soccer and baseball season ended, so now I'm doing soccer. But I don't know much about soccer except go, go, go.
So you played with the Astros in one of their postseason series. How was that like playing with guys like Roger Clemens and Andy Pennant and Roy Oswalt and those guys?
Oh, it was cool. When I got up to the big leagues, I played in the minor leagues with Roy and a couple other guys like Jason Lane and Chris Burke, a couple of those guys. And then obviously when you get to the big leagues, I just remember collecting those guys' baseball cards, like Clemens and Pettit and Biggio and Bagwell. Now I'm in the locker room with them. So it was surreal, for the most part. But it was a trip. We were in the postseason in 2004 and in 2005. So I was very fortunate as a rookie. In my second and third years, I was already pitching in a World Series where Biggio and Bagwell played their whole career, and they didn't get to play the World Series till I was there. So it was pretty cool. Even though we got swept in 2005 by the White Sox, we still beat those Cardinals and closed Old Busch Stadium back in 2005. It was awesome.
Yep, and I remember in 2004 when my New York Yankees were playing the Boston Red Sox, as Derek Jeter said on the documentary, he thought one of those teams would make it. I thought the Astros will make it that year, and you lost to your rivals, the Cardinals, and then the next year you beat the Cardinals at Minute Maid Park. But was it Minute Maid Park back one?
Well, when I was there, yeah, it was Minute Maid Park. Yeah, definitely. But the Astros were a National League team. I was kind of bummed that they switched to the American League. I really, they already have the Texas Rangers. Why have the Houston Astros? So now both teams in Texas are in the American League. I'm not a big fan of that.
That has to do with the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred.
Yeah, and I heard that the sale of the Astros when Crane took over the ownership, that was one of the stipulations. He had to agree to move to the American League for the sale to go through.
So was Crane there owning the team when he played for them?
Nope. It was Drayton McClain. Drayton McClain, the starter. I mean, he was a part of that, shipping business that helped out Walmart and all that, McClain Shipping. So yeah, it was Drayton McClain.
Now, how did you feel making your major league debut on July 2nd, 2003?
Oh, everything happened so fast that year. I wasn't in big league spring training at all. I started the year in minor league camp, then broke with Double-A in 2003. And then I played a couple of months in Double-A, and then Bruce Chen was in the big leagues at the time, and he didn't pitch too well, so he got released. And then they called up the Triple-A guy from New Orleans to Houston, and his name was Nathan Bland. And he's a nice guy, good kid, but when you're a left-handed pitcher, you kind of know about your other lefties in the organization, like who do I got to beat to get up there. But I got promoted to AAA New Orleans, played for the Zephyrs, and overall, I remember being at AAA and I wasn't on the 40-man roster. And I probably pitched, I don't know, 10, 15 innings, and I didn't give up a run. And I was pitching well. And then I wasn't on the 40-man roster yet. So I just remember looking at the box score one day and go, God, that lefty that got called up is not doing very well. And Jimmy Williams was the manager then in 2003. And then I just one weekend, we have a home series in New Orleans, and I didn't pitch when I thought I was going to pitch. And I was kind of on a set schedule. I'd throw every other day or sometimes back-to-back days, but I had a couple of days off and I didn't throw when there was a left-handed situation coming up, and I just felt like something weird was going to happen. And I went to the locker room after the game and everybody's like, oh, Gallo's going to the big leagues. And I'm like, I wasn't even on the roster. And then all of a sudden the pitching coach, Jim Hickey, goes, hey, Skip wants to see you. So I went into, and it was Maloney, and he was with the Cardinals organization as of recently. I don't know where he's at now, but he was eating a bowl of crawfish, and he goes, "Hey, Bull," he just nicknamed me Bull. He goes, "Hey, Bull, I got good news and bad news." I said, "Well, what's the bad news?" He goes, "Bad news is you got to get home and pack your bags. You're not going to get much sleep tonight." I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because you're going to Houston." And I go, "What? I'm going to Houston?" He's like, "Yeah, you're getting your shot, getting called up." And I'm like, "Oh, man." And I gave him hugs, and it was cool. When I got called up, they were playing the Rangers in an interleague series. So I get into Houston. I didn't pitch right away. Um, Suited up, went to sleep in the hotel, went to the field the next day, and was just trying to act normal. But it was kind of hard to act normal back then. That was before we got Clemens and Pettit. But, all of a sudden I'm a rookie playing catch with Billy Wagner. And I really do hope Billy gets in that Hall of Fame, because Billy's a good guy. And, he treats the rookies well, and he treated us well. And, being a left-hander, I looked up to Billy Wagner. So it was a cool trip. And it didn't really hit me till I actually got the pitch against the Brewers, made my debut against the Brewers, faced Scott Pasednik, and I fell behind to him 2-0, and then I threw a fastball out over the plate. He just popped it up. So I didn't want to walk my first guy. So that was my first big league hitter. And, I guess my biggest moment was facing Ken Griffey Jr. for the first time, and he was towards the end of his career. And with Griffey being left-handed, to me, I had his 89 Upper Deck rookie card, and I just thought he was a stud. Brad Ausmus, my catcher, just said, "Throw nothing but sliders to him." I said, "Okay." So I did, and I struck him out. In fact, I probably struck out Griffey twice, and it was a trip. But, just overall, once you get that paycheck, that's when you're in the big leagues.
It's funny, and I know Brad Ausmus from when I was mad with New York for firing Joe Torre. So I went to LA, and he ran right by me. And my mom says, "Next time, scream at them to sign." So-and-so signed. I got Jason Lane down at McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket when he played for the Yankees AAA team. Great guy.
Yeah, was Jason a nice guy? That's cool.
Yeah, he came up and
Jason
signed for
was
me.
a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played against Jason when he was at USC when I pitched at Long Beach State.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to get back into. You went to Long Beach State. How was that like being a California boy and getting accepted after college into Long Beach State?
Yeah, so basically I had to go to City College first out of my senior year, because I only pitched 20 innings my senior year at Millikan High School here in Long Beach, which is a pretty good baseball school, public school. But then I had to go to City just to get noticed. And finally I went to City, had a good year as a starting pitcher. And then Long Beach State, Dave Snow offered me tuition and books to come over and pitch at Long Beach State. And I was there for my junior year. My junior year went to the College World Series in 1998 with Long Beach State. And we went to the Final Four. We got knocked out by Arizona State. And that was the year Morgan Ensberg, my former teammate with Houston, and along with Jason Lane, were playing for USC. And USC ended up beating Arizona State that year in 1998 in Omaha, 21-14. And that's when they changed those bats. They went from those crazy bats to the BB core bats that we all have come to accustom to now in college baseball and high school and little league baseball. But, pitching there and having that coach Dave Snow as my pitching coach and head coach, it got me prepared for the next level. And, I got my degree in speech communications, and I wouldn't trade that degree for anything in the world, because I know a lot of guys get drafted and they don't go back and get their degree. And I'm a big stickler about, getting that degree. So that helps out a lot.
I did at UMass Communications.
UMass, that a baby.
Hey, let's do a shout out to Jerry Spradlin. Get well soon, buddy.
Yeah, Jerry, get well soon, buddy. Jerry's my good friend of mine, man. And he's a strong guy. He's gonna beat whatever's gonna come at him. He's a strong guy.
He's been on my show, and also Dave Veers. They've been on my show in 2020.
Oh, Dave Veers is a great guy too. I met Dave Veers when I was with the Rockies for 1 year, and I was stuck in AAA, but I was in big league camp with them in 2007. And Dave's a great guy.
And then you played also for the Jays.
Yeah, 1 year with the Blue Jays. Yeah, but I didn't get to the big leagues. I was stuck. I had a great spring training there too, but once you become a free agent and you sign on with a new organization, you're going up against their organizational guys that they paid, and you're there as an insurance policy. And unfortunately, I pitched well enough to make that team, but there was no spots for me because they kept their guys. And I went down to AA, New Hampshire, and played for the Fisher Cats. I got to be in another part of the country that I didn't play ball in. in the minor leagues. So that was cool. But, then I got to Syracuse. They only gave me 5 innings, and I got hit around a little bit, and they released me. So at the time, my daughter, who's now going into high school now as a freshman at the local high school where I went to high school here in Milliken, she was only a year old, and Father's Day was coming up, and it kind of was a blessing. I got released. I got to be home for Father's Day with my daughter. So it was cool.
And I know what the Fisher Cat Stadium is because I've been to MUR 9 up in Manchester. It's right by me. I've been to they're getting a tour of the station because of my media stuff background I want to get into. And I could see the Fisher Cats, and I believe they were having a game that day, but I was leaving before they had a game.
Yeah, they have a beautiful ballpark and good fans, a lot of good fans there. I wouldn't want to be there in the winter time. It seems like it gets pretty cold there.
I'm in Massachusetts, not that far from New Hampshire.
Woo! I remember going to play the Portland. I think they were in the Double A Eastern League. Portland Sea Dogs. Yeah, were the Sea Dogs? Are they Double A?
They're Double A.
Yep. Is that still the Red Sox Double A affiliate?
Yep, still the Red Sox Double A affiliate. And then the Paw Sox that were Triple A moved up to Worcester. So they're the Woo Sox now, the Worcester Red Sox.
Where are the Red Sox at now? Whereabouts?
The Red Sox Triple A team, they were in Pawtucket, and then they moved in 2020 was supposed to be there last year, but with the virus, they had camp down there, the alternate site or whatever. And then last year they had their first season up in Worcester, Mass.
Where's Western? You mean Western Mass, the college?
No, Worcester, Massachusetts.
Oh, Whistler.
Worcester.
Oh, Worcester. How do you spell that?
Worcester. I mean.
Oh, okay. So they built a brand new stadium for them up there?
Yep. Right.
I've never heard of that town. I got to get up there.
That's. I'm in Douglas. That's north of me. Then
okay,
Boston's
so how
east
far?
of me.
Yeah, how far in a car would it take to get there?
I'd have to say an hour or so because I'm in Douglas. That's Worcester. So I have to get on the highway 146, 395.
Wow, right on. Okay, got you. Okay.
And I'm right on the Massachusetts tri-state border with Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. There's a spot in Massachusetts in Douglas that you can go to. It's called a tri-state border, and you can stand in 3 states at once.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I got to get up there one time.
So,
all right.
How did you feel when you played in the Rockies organization?
I thought it was like a breath of fresh air when I got over there after leaving Houston, my parent team that gave me the opportunity to pitch in the big leagues after, whatever it was, 7 years with the Astros. It was something new. Dave Snow, my old college coach, my pitching coach, was working for the Rockies at the time as a consultant. And I felt comfortable there. I really did. And I really thought I had a future there. But AAA, once again, I go to big league camp. I pitched well. I don't know why I didn't get put on the roster except for business reasons. Tom Martin was a lefty at the time. He was coming back off an injury, and they gave him $1 million guaranteed money. And he signed into spring training. He showed up kind of late, and he got paid, and he took the spot that I was fighting for because he was a veteran. And so sure enough, they kept him up there as long as they could up until June or July. And at the time, I wasn't pitching as well as I should have. In Colorado Springs, a little bit tougher to pitch at than anywhere else. But I got acclimated, and, I ended up finishing the season strong in AAA up there. I threw a scoreless, last 4 weeks of baseball, had about 15 scoreless appearances, and I thought I'd get a chance, and it didn't happen. So, I became a free agent again, and that's when I signed with Toronto for the following year. But I pitched down in Venezuela the winter of 2007. And to try and, show everybody that I could be a starting pitcher again. So I went down to Venezuela, started, and faced Omar Vizquel when he was playing for the Caracas team that down there, the capital team. And I played for the Barquisimeto, Lara Cardinales in Barquisimeto, Venezuela. And that was a fun experience. Oh my God, I had a good time down there. Thank God, I never had surgery or nothing. I can still throw. I still play slow pitch softball now. I still get pitching lessons. I throw batting practice to the kids. I might be joining baseball again soon at just like a 40-year-old league and just have some fun, because I still love to compete. And I still love to play.
You don't want to be a pitching coach or a manager for one of those teams someday?
I was the pitching coach for my 8-year-old team, my son's 8-year-old team, and we won the championship down here in the Southwest. for Cal Ripken baseball. And, I love it. I love to do that. I would love to do my career, be a pitching coach and get paid to do that. It's just one of those things where I want to kind of do it where I live and not have to go travel and be away from my family right now. Cause the most important thing is helping out my kids get to where they need to be, get them ready to go. And then when the kids are a little bit older, then I can start maybe putting out some feelers that I want to be a pitching coach in pro baseball. But, I gravitated towards college baseball. I love college baseball. If I had an opportunity to be a head, help out with recruiting or a head recruiter for a university and also be a pitching coach, that would be a dream job for me. And, it's just one of those things where in college baseball, it's like your best friend has to get the head job and then hopefully he'll hire you as the pitching coach. So it's kind of a good network like that. It's kind of hard unless you're really tight with the head coach of an organization.
Matt Blake, the Yankees pitching coach, he went up to Holy Cross up in Worcester College in Massachusetts. So that's where he went to college. No experience at all. And he's the Yankees pitching coach.
Wow. So did he start off in the minor leagues and work his way up?
I think he was a consultant or something, and he never played professional baseball, but I think he was a consultant or something in Cleveland, I believe.
Wow.
I'd have to look at my guide again. And now he's pitching for the Yankees. And as I knew, the Astros would end up catching up to us because of what they do.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's a shame what happened to them in 2017. The Yankees were caught cheating. Boston was caught cheating. A lot more teams were cheating, but they just weren't getting caught like the Astros did. And, so they kind of got tainted. But that organization is kind of ran by some solid guys, and they keep producing good players. And, you can't discount that team. That team is pretty good. And, they shipped off some key pieces. Correa's up in Minnesota, I believe now. And, they still got Altuve and I think even Bregman's at third base is having a down year this year, but they're still, what it comes down to is pitching.
And they did Trey Mancini.
Yeah. Yep. And, that's the thing, they have a good sense of developing pitchers, it looks like. And their pitchers are pitching well in that stadium because that stadium's tough to pitch in. It really is. Short porch to left, short porch to right, deep center. But, you can make your pitch and a guy could hit one off his front foot out of the ballpark because it's just that's the way it is there in Houston. But, but overall, Verlander, man, I knew he's a competitor. He's coming back. He roared back from his injury and he looks great. So, but these Dodgers, I mean, I'm 20 minutes from Dodger Stadium without traffic. I don't know if anybody can beat these Dodgers right now. I know it's only August, but this is where the long season comes into play. For the most part, they've gotten a couple injuries like every team's gotten, but their lineup is just mashing. Their run differentials like in the 230s, 230 or something right now. It's insane. And the closest team to them is the Yankees at about 204, 205. And so they're not just winning 1-run, 2-run games. They're blowing teams out by 4 to 5 runs a game or more. It's crazy. And, so to me, I think it could come down to a Dodger-Yankee World Series, and that'd be a lot of fun to see, but can't discount those Astros. You never know.
Yeah, I won't say it on the air because I can't be biased, but you know how I feel about the Astros being a New Yorker.
Oh, yeah. Everybody hates, I think it's safe to say that everybody hates the Astros except in the state of Texas.
They never were hated like that until Altuve did some stupid things and he never apologized, which
yeah. And, and I'm going to challenge you here, and I'm not being biased either, but go back and look at those pitches that Chapman threw to Altuve. Maybe even Altuve knew those pitches were coming, but go back and look at the location of those pitches. They're not dirty sliders. They're spinning, hanging sliders that are coming right down the middle, or they're up in the zone for Altuve. All he had to do was flick his bat. But granted, it is kind of weak that he knew it was coming. But to me, even if I told the best big league hitter in the world, hey, I'm throwing my best slider to you right now, I don't think they could smash it out of the ballpark like a lot of, even if they knew it was coming. And Chapman, like I said, fastball, if you knew a fastball was coming, he's throwing 100 miles an hour. It's still cheating. Don't get me wrong. But to me, I think what's happening in baseball right now is they're taking velocity over location. And that's what bugs me as a pitching coach. I was taught to hit the corners, change eye levels, up, down, corner, off speed, whatever. But it just seems like a lot of guys that throw hard don't even know where it's going. They're just trying to locate it right down the middle. Or just let me rear back and fire. I don't know if you have an opinion on it, but I just don't like some of these flamethrowers. They don't locate very well.
I think Chapman was all right, and now he's a lost cause. And Clay Holmes was doing all right, and now he's a lost cause.
Yeah. Do you think Chapman's hurt?
I really don't know. But he's been doing good now that he's out of the closest role. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It might have something to do with Aaron Boone. Who knows?
Yeah. You know what? And, he has been throwing that ball that hard, that long, and basically a human anatomy, this motion here, throwing that hard for so many years, it's going to take a toll. It's going to take a toll. I haven't seen his velocity. What's his velocity been at? Still up in the upper 90s?
Up in the upper 90s, sometimes lower down 90s, but they say when he's doing good, he's doing well. But when I went to Baltimore and saw him, he pitched in 2 and he got a save. The second game, we almost blew the game, but we still won it. And the last game I went to, that's when you were with your son at Dodger Stadium.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, speaking of the Orioles? Yeah, the Orioles. My former catcher at Long Beach State, Brandon Hyde, is the manager. He's a good buddy of mine, but I don't have his cell phone right now, but whenever he comes to town, I try and catch up with him.
Yeah, I met Brandon Hyde. I told you that I met your buddy in 2019. He signed for me outside.
That's right. Hyde's a class act, great guy.
And what's surprising is if I told you in the winter, do you think the Orioles would be doing better than the Red Sox right now? If I told you that last year?
Nope. I'm amazed. And that's baseball for you, and it's good to see. Down here we have one of the most exciting players in baseball with Shohei Ohtani, and it's so sad that the Angels cannot figure it out over there. They can't figure it out. Once again, we're in the middle of September, and they're already out of it. They're not making the postseason. Rendon, they paid him a bunch of money. He can't stay healthy. Then you got Trout, who's, I keep thinking this every year around this time of year, Trout's not playing because he's hurt, but it's like they're saving him. They don't want to waste him this year, but that's been the MO the last couple of years. He gets hurt and then they shut him down the rest of the season because they want to save him for next year. But I'll tell you right now, if they don't figure it out, they get that. It's such a sad situation down there. But Ohtani's going to be a free agent after next year, and I don't see him sticking around in Anaheim.
I think he'll either go back to Japan like Tanaka did, or go over to New York. The Yankees were interested in him, but they just never made a trade.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Angels are willing to trade for him either. But I'll tell you right now, next year is going to be interesting. You got the Dodgers that would embrace him. They got deep pockets, and with the Yankees and Dodgers seem to be the best suitors for Ohtani anyways,
But for all you know, he could go to the Astros.
No, exactly. Good call. Yeah.
A lot of people won't like him if he does that.
Yeah, exactly. So are you a football fan too?
Yeah, I'm a Patriots guy.
Whoa, okay. So I might be at the stadium behind me, a good old Lambeau when they take on the Patriots October 2nd. I might be at that stadium, so I'll let you know.
Yep, but the Patriots are not good anymore now that they get rid of Tom Brady. That was Bill Belichick.
Yeah, what I think is going to happen is it's still Belichick. They're going to be competitive. One thing that's going to bite them in the butt is they never really go out and spend big money on free agents.
They used to years ago, but not anymore.
Yeah.
And Robert Kraft doesn't do anything about it.
Nope. I agree with you. Yep. But other than that, I'm excited for football. I do a lot of fantasy football teams and picks. I love football. I can't wait.
I do fantasy football too.
Yep. And in my college team, I always root for Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame just because of their history. And, they open up with the Ohio State at Ohio State. And I think they're 13.5-point underdogs opening Saturday for both those teams. I can't wait for that one.
Like you already know, baseball comes first in my house. Remember I wrote that to you?
Yeah. Yep. And right now the dog days of summer are just here. I love it when September comes around. You know, the baseball starts to get a little tighter now that you already know pretty much who's going to go to the playoffs, and football's going on. And then October is the greatest month ever. You got hockey, you got baseball playoffs, you got football. It's the best time of the year.
And then LeBron James, not that far. My birthday is October 30th, so not by either before my birthday or on the birthday day, the Lakers are opening up. And I've been a Lakers fan, even though I live in Massachusetts since I was small. I was a Yankees fan at 4 years old, 96 when they started winning. Lakers a little bit later, but I always loved Kobe. I love Shaq, and I love Phil Jackson.
Yeah. You know, the way things have gone with me, I've gravitated more towards college basketball. NBA, I kind of lost its pizzazz. You know, it's shine to me. When players start saying, "Hey, I don't want to play for this coach, trade me," that bugs the crap out of me. And I know LeBron did it once, and now, you know, you got Durant, you know, doing the same thing. It's just, to me, if a baseball player said, "Yeah, I don't want to play for that manager, you know, trade me," you know, really, you don't hear baseball players doing that. That's why NBA is kind of rough. It's ruffling my feathers a little bit.
Now getting back to the World Series. Not that many players that were like you that you played with made it to a World Series, and 2 years after their rookie year. And then you played against the White Sox, where you had Jose Contreras was on the team, pitching. You had Orlando Hernandez. You had Luis Vizcaino. You had a pile of them.
Uribe, Besednik was on that team, and you know, obviously AJ Brzezinski was my guy because he you know, he's a left-handed hitter as a catcher, and you know, I was told that, you know, that would be the guy that I'm going to be facing, and probably Uribe, because Uribe bats terrible against lefties. Or I should say his batting average suffers against left-handed pitching because he bats, you know, he's a better left-handed batter, Jose Uribe was. But yeah, I mean, it was surreal. I got a funny story if you want to hear it.
Sure.
One of the games, the game I actually pitched in, I believe it was game 2. I came in to face Brzezinski with 1 out, and basically got Brzezinski to ground out. And then Joe Creedy, the third baseman, came up, and I thought they were going to pull me, but they kept me in the game. And I went ball 1 and then a 2-seamer sinker fastball, and he rolled it over for a ground ball. I got 2 outs on 4 pitches. Came in the dugout, and they said, "Hey, if we stay tied, if we're tied up, you're going back out there." I'm like, "All right, cool." And this is the 8th inning or whatever. And I was pretty confident because I was going to face Besednik and Uribe. So all of a sudden, we're still tied, and they hit the panic button, and they made a change. Phil Garner, somebody told them, "Let's get Lidge in there." So they put Brad Lidge in, and Lidge proceeds to give up the game-winning home run. I believe it was Lidge, the game-winning home run to Scott Besednik, who didn't hit a home run all year, and he parked it off and walked us off, and we lost the game. And I'll never forget sitting in that dugout going, that's my hitter. That was my guy. And you guys got scared. And I never, now that I think about it, I'm surprised I didn't go into the office and go, "Why didn't you let me face those guys?" I don't, you know, and I never did. I just didn't want to rock the boat, you know, but we're down 2-0 going back to Houston. And then that was the end of it. You know, we lost every game by 1 run. It was crazy. But yeah, when I got home, it was awesome. The fact that we got to play in a World Series, it just was sad that we got swept.
And I believe it was the second baseman, but he won a World Series, and I believe he also played for Tampa, but he was Japanese, and now he's the coach over in Nepal professional baseball, because I watched those too.
Which guy was that?
Oh, hold on 1 second. Upgrade. I don't want to upgrade Zoom. I can't think of his name. He was the second baseman. He was Japanese. He's coaching for the Lotte Marines. He's the coach over there.
So you're saying he was playing for the White Sox that year in the World Series?
Yeah, the White Sox. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got to go back and take a peek at that. Yeah,
it was. His name began with an A, I thought.
You're probably right. I didn't face him though. I know that, but I just remember seeing Big Bobby Jenks come in there as their closer, and he had a big curveball, big fastball, but he's a big boy, big kind of overweight guy that just threw the ball hard with a good curveball.
He used to do this when he went into the game.
Yep, exactly. No worries, man. but other than that, but it's a pleasure coming on your show. I don't have to leave you. I got about maybe 10 more minutes. So, yeah, fire away if you got any more questions,
So,
brother.
Mark Burley was against you that time, and he threw a no-hitter.
Yeah, I mean, the talent that I was experienced playing against and playing with during the years of 03 and 03 to 06 was amazing. I got to see Carlos Beltran hit all those home runs in that 2004 postseason. Was amazing. I mean, that was my first experience seeing what a rent-a player was. We got him for the push, and then he didn't come back to Houston the following year. I think he signed with the Mets that year, big contract to not come back to Houston. But I was teammates with Jeff Kent, and I respected Kent because he got in a fight with Barry Bonds. I thought that was cool.
And Jeff Kent later on in life played with the Dodgers, and before then he was in the World Series with Barry Bonds, and those two didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah, they had different of opinions, and that's just the way it was. But Jeff was a competitor and a great teammate. He was if you wanted to go to war with somebody, and you want Jeff Kent on your team.
Yep, and also there was Dusty Baker was part of that old 02 Giants team, and then he's part of the Dodgers. He played for the Dodgers and won the World Series, and now he's with the Astros.
Yep. And it's kind of ironic that when they fired the coach for is it Hinch, AJ Hinch, right?
AJ Hinch, yep.
Yeah, I don't know him too well, but I followed him, and I think he was a great guy from what I heard from the team. But long story short, the league hired him as the cop to make sure they don't cheat. And I was like, wait a minute, you got guys that were doing steroids on your team, and you didn't say a word, did you?
And I find it funny too that sometimes I wonder if it's rigged. I don't know, but the Yankees were doing so well, and the Dodgers were doing so well, and the Astros were doing poorly. And now the Yankees are tied with the Astros because the Astros won the season series, and now the Dodgers are running away with it. But somewhat, I have the Dodgers World Series full games of when they won in 2020. But I'm thinking now that Vince Scully died, who I had the pleasure of watching when I was in high school, when I was a Dodgers guy, and I got to meet Joe Torre and Don Mattingly over in the Dodgers. But I never got to meet Vince Scully, which I wanted to meet him. But I used to watch him and I used to get up at nights, and I stayed up, and some of my friends at school said, I can't even watch Vince Scully, and you watch him at 10 o'clock at night, and you go to bed once.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my post, but Vinny, I got 2 autographed balls from Vinny. I'll cherish those things the rest of my life. I got to meet Vinny. Vinny was a great guy, and he's a legend. He's definitely a legend, and he'll always be just that voice that you could always relate to. When it comes to sportscasting, he talked stories about. He didn't care if you played for the other team. If he knew something about you, he talked about it online. He talked about it on live TV. That's that. He wasn't a homer. Of course, he cheered for his Dodgers, but he kept it pretty fair and honest.
And what I liked about him is he could do the game himself. He wasn't like the guys nowadays that have to have a Carlos Beltran Michael Kay was Carlos Beltran. Dave O'Brien was Dennis Eckersley, Kevin Youkilis.
Yeah. So is Beltran now in the announcer's booth now?
Yep.
For the Mets?
Nope, for the Yankees.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
That's because he was working with the Yankees. But then when the stealing of the signs happened, he got the job after that. The Yankees that season was done. He was working with Brian Cashman, special advisor. Then he got the job as the Mets coach, and he got let go when they said, well, you have to get suspended, and Cora got suspended. But what I thought was funny is, and then Hinch got suspended, and also Luna. But what I thought was funny is none of the other coaches got suspended on those teams, which I thought was, Beltran, I think, only got suspended because he became a coach.
Yeah, it's something crazy.
And then Luis Rojas got his job and got fired, and now he's the Yankees coach. But his brother was the left fielder for 2003. Dave Veers played for the Cubs that year when they lost and didn't go to the World Series. But
Right.
his brother is Mosey. That's Luis Rojas's brother, and
Yeah.
Philip Alou. That's that his dad coached the Giants, which I find funny is that those two guys have different last names than Rojas, which I don't know why.
Yeah, it's always weird how families, whatever happens, maybe different moms or whatnot. Yeah, something's going on. But yeah, but other than that, the baseball is, it's always evolving. Your analytics is in the game now. I'm not saying I'm a fan of it. I still think, these analytic guys, oh, he's got a great spin rate on his fastball. Well, you know what? Can he get a hitter out? Can he throw strikes? If he can get the hitter out and he's throwing strikes, why do I need to know about the spin rate? You know what I mean? Oh, maybe because the spin rate relates to success on the mound. Okay, well, whatever. If I'm scouting, I'm just going to be like, hey, this guy's a bulldog on the mound. He's mentally tough and he can throw strikes and he can get people out. He's smart on the mound. To me, I don't need to know the spin rate on that. That's just my, I may be old school about that, but, all this talk on the analytics side, I'm just not a big fan of yet. That's why I don't think I could jump to that pro ball yet.
Why I have direct TV, so I get all the games. But when the Yankees come to Boston, the Red Sox go to Fenway, I have to watch it on NESN, so I'm out of luck there. But I like Dennis Eckersley, and he's retiring at the end of the year. What was a shock to me.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something going on with his health or something. But yeah, Dennis is a great guy.
He said him and his wife, it was a family decision.
Yeah. Yep.
For grandchildren and stuff. I know he's been married. This is his third wife, but his second wife, his daughter became homeless. I read a story about that.
That's too bad. Yeah. Life is crazy. Life is hard. You just got to keep grinding it out. Got to keep grinding it out.
Look what happened to Jerry Remy before he died. His son went to prison because his wife, Jerry Remy's wife, told the girlfriend, the fiance, whatever, to get a restraining order, and she didn't. She got killed.
Oh, that's terrible. You probably heard about that story about the former Dodger that was homeless and lost and had mental problems, and they found him at the Burbank airport sleeping on the street or something. Why am I forgetting his name? He's an African American player. You know what? I'll send it to you. And
is he a pitcher?
No, he's a position player. Tate. Is it Tate? I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. But it was a good story. This kid, was in the big leagues and something happened. I don't know what happened, but he thought of the game of baseball and he turned into, whatever happened. I don't know. He ended up becoming homeless. And so that someone mentioned the Dodgers and they got him into the, into the help, the rehab, whatever it may be. But they signed him to a contract, not really to play, but so he can get the benefits. And they're doing a really good humanity thing for this player. I mean, he talk about hard times. I mean, excuse me. I would say when guys get out of this game, they go through a period of depression. They do. It happens to everybody. It's just a matter of how deep are you going to go? Can you bounce back? I remember I couldn't watch baseball for 2 years. I was pissed. I was 2 months from arbitration. If I would have played 60 more days in the big leagues, I would have got paid a lot more money than what I was making, even though it's still a lot of money. But, I couldn't prove collusion or anything like that. But I just found it odd that at 30 years old, I could still throw the ball in the upper 80s with movement and a curveball and a slider and a changeup. And I couldn't get a job anywhere except Taiwan. And it just was weird. It was really weird. But that's when analytics came in. I was considered old, I guess. And I didn't throw 95 miles an hour being left-handed.